What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Combat Corporation, your source for combat sports. I'm your host, Al the Postmaster Morrow, and today I have a gear review on the Adidas Speed Tilt 350 training gloves. Alright folks, as always, I'm incredibly excited to bring you yet another gear review, as today I have the Adidas Speed Tilt 350 training gloves. And I've been really wanting to do this review for a while because Adidas, I've had these gloves for a little over a year, and Adidas has been in the combat sports world for a lot longer than I think people really know. And a lot of really big boxing fans, or just in general sport fans that get into this, would never assume that a big brand like Adidas has a whole boxing selection too, and an MMA selection or a wrestling selection, right? And that's something that I was really excited to do. That, and I've had these gloves for, like I said, almost a year now. I bought them in March of 2022. It's February 2023 right now, so it's almost been a year. And I've used these quite a bit, and I was a really big fan of these. I was really introduced to Adidas as a combat sport brand when I saw that Title Boxing was selling their Adidas Hybrid 300s. I also saw guys like Chris Algieri release these Patriot versions of those gloves, which I then bought, and I used those and ran them into the ground. Those were my main gloves before I even made the channel. So I bought those back in like 2016 or 17. I think I was a junior in college, so a whole year before I even bought the channel, before I started the channel. So Adidas has continued to make more and more innovations towards their equipment, and that's where we have the Speed Tilt series, and this is the Speed Tilt 350. They also have the Speed Tilt like 250, which I think is like an intermediate version, but this is the 350, which is the pro version, and a lot of different pros in multiple sports have been using these. It's a really innovative product because this is, for me, one of the first gloves out there that is actively trying to use recycled material. And what I mean by that is, as you can see here on this patch, it's made out of cactus leather. The interior lining is made out of recycled water bottles, and most of the glove and the padding is made out of recycled foams and things of that nature, which is pretty crazy. So the whole glove, I'm not saying you're going to throw it into the recycle bin when you're done with it, but technically you could, because it's made of all recycled materials. So it's cool that Adidas is making that change. And it also appeals because I even have some teammates that are all vegan, and they refuse to use any leather products. So they only use non-leather products. So this would be a great option for something like that. And Adidas, of course, is one of the biggest sporting brands in the world. When I was doing research on these gloves, I looked up how big Adidas actually was. I have a few Adidas like tops and stuff like that, and basically if you look at the charts, it's number 1 Nike, number 2 Adidas, and number 3 Puma. Funny story, Adidas and Puma, the guys that started it, were brothers. One stayed in Germany after World War II, and one left Germany after World War II. Puma started a year before, and they were both, from what I understand, never talked to each other because they were always in a fierce rivalry. And so after World War II ended and they had the freedom to make their own brand, they did. And Adidas is still big to this day. So most charts that I saw said Adidas was the second highest selling brand outside of Nike. And then Puma apparently was third, which is crazy. I never thought Puma would be. I thought Under Armour would be. But Under Armour is like 4 or 5. And then Reebok is up there too, I guess. But Adidas has been big for a long time. Another fun fact, I'm throwing a bunch out there at you, is Adidas is actually pronounced Adidas. So when you go to Germany, that's how they would say it would be Adidas or something like that. And it actually fit the box, so Simon will say Adidas and not Adidas. So actually in the United States, we're saying it wrong, like we say a bunch of stuff wrong anyway. And then one more fun fact about Adidas, I found out, I always wondered why those 3 stripes, because they're literally called the 3 stripe brand, is a mountain. So the 3 stripes is actually symbolizing a mountain, and the creator said, I want to create stuff that will help people overcome any sporting challenge that they'll have. which is cool. So just like a mountain, you're climbing over a mountain. So that's my spiel about Adidas. Now, let's get into these gloves and who uses them and everything like that. Like I said, world famous boxers have used these, such as Chris Algieri, released stuff from Adidas, and then on top of it, in MMA, Adidas has a big thing with combat sports. I remember American Kickboxing Academy, like Daniel Cormier, Cain Velasquez, and Luke Rockhold used a lot of Adidas stuff for a while. I think AKA actually had a deal with Adidas for a while, which was cool. So you saw Luke Rockhold using the hybrids and using these once or twice. Besides the winnings, I saw Daniel Cormier and Cain Velasquez sparring in Adidas MMA gloves. And now really the biggest guy that I can think of in MMA/boxing that uses these, and how I actually found out about these was an ad on his Instagram, was Anderson Silva using a pair of these gloves. And he had them draped around his neck because they have a lace-up version as well. So that was cool. Also, if you're big into amateur boxing, I mean, literally the AIBA, which I'm pretty sure stands for the Amateur International Boxing Association, uses Adidas. That's their official manufacturer for amateur boxing gloves. That's also who uses them for the Olympics as well, is Adidas. So they are actually bigger in combat sports than you think. And I've even used Adidas wrestling shoes in my life. So the fact that they're in boxing and they're doing pretty good, that's awesome. So there you go. That's the whole spiel about Adidas and who uses it. Now let's go into my exact model, which you can get them in a couple different sizes. I think they go all the way from 10 ounce to 18 ounces. I have them in 16 ounces in the Velcro closure, so they're in hook and loop. And you can get them in a bunch of different colors. I decided to go with this colorway. I originally wanted the solid blue with gold, but they were out of stock when I went to buy them, so I got the Spider-Man looking colors, which is awesome. So they also have this colorway in reverse, so the red would take place of the blue, and the blue would take place of the red, obviously. And then they also have it in black and gold. They have it in white and black. They have a couple different colors out there, which is pretty cool. I always like variety. And like I said, they're all available in different sizes and in lace-ups. So if you're a boxer and you prefer lace-ups, that's an option for you too. I'm in MMA, so I like the convenience of Velcro. But going into the look of the glove itself, we go to the back of the striking surface, and you can see that it's definitely a flashier looking glove, and it looks very smooth on the outside. If you look at it's weird. If you look at the Speed Tilt 350 lace-up version, it looks just like, it's aesthetically pleasing to look at as to how much of like a cone it looks like. I don't know how to explain it, but it just looks so clean. And you got that same thing here. You can see the whole glove just has that nice, clean, shiny texture to it. And you start off with the color on the back being all blue and red down here, and it splits down here, and that's actually part of the Speed Tilt system. So Speed Tilt is actually the system that they have in the design. We'll go into that in a minute here. But it's all this really nice, rich blue. It's like a USA flag blue, and I love that color all the way throughout the back here until you get to the 3 stripes on the back, which is the Adidas logo itself. I wish they put Adidas under there right there. That would make sense because they have that here on the other side. I wish they had it on there too, but I do like that that's there as well. That's also blue with the white lettering here and the white logo. Once again, we go into that nice red. Once again, it's like a USA red color down here, which looks really nice. I like that. Then we go to the thumb, and it's a really cool design. I like how it goes. You have the little white lines going down here. It's a little curve to show the curvature of the thumb. You have blue up here towards this part of the thumb and at the bottom of the thumb, but it's red throughout there. So I really like that they made that detail there. It just makes it pop out cool. It looks like I said, the glove looks like a superhero. And then when we come to the inner palm, you can see all the holes here. The stitching primarily is red, as you can see throughout there. It's all double line stitching going throughout here. You got white palm piping, blue thumb piping, but the inside of the thumb is red here, and the whole palm is also red, except for the piping, of course. Then when we come down to the palm, you have an interior attached wrist strap, which is blue and red. So you have 2 colors going on there, as you can see. You got red at the base here, then you got blue here, and at the very bottom of it, it's red, but that's not technically part of the wrist strap itself. So you got blue and red going on there. You have a white little imprint that says 16 ounces, showing you what size you got. And then at the bottom, in blue and white lettering, it says Speed Tilt 350. So that's the model that you have there, and that's in red. You also go back to that embroidered patch right there. It says made of cactus. So that's really cool. So it's made 100% of cactus leather. Another cool design thing is on the inside, you can see that the lining has the Adidas logo going all the way throughout, which is really cool. So I really like that. And then it also says made in Pakistan with a little stamp right here on the inside, which yes, most of Adidas' stuff is made in Pakistan. And everything else is just basically a warning telling you that boxing's dangerous, be careful. So, and yep, that's exactly what it says. So overall, the glove has a lot of design going on here as far as like the look of the glove goes, but let's go into the construction of the glove, the build of the glove. Once again, the entire outer shell is made out of a nice cactus leather. And I tell you what, it is smoother than a lot of leathers out there, and it's softer than a lot of leathers out there, and I love that. For me, you can't see any wrinkles or crinkles or anything except for, you know, about like here, you see that just because of where the stitching is going to line up. But there's no wrinkles on the actual striking surface itself. And I like that it looks so clean that way. You know, even with every amount of leather or even some pleather gloves, it'll wrinkle and it'll shrink. These do not. And that's the one thing I like about that. It looks clean and it looks like a nice sleek profile at all times. So you have that material going all the way throughout the striking surface, the thumb, even the thumb attachment, that blue thumb attachment here is made out of that same material all the way to the palm. The only part of it besides the Velcro is the lining that is made of something different, and of course the interior padding. Speaking of the padding, you have a really nice multi-layered, multi-density padding going on here, and it's a decent thickness, and I love how soft it is because the outside layer, which is a pretty thick layer, it's not too thick, and it's also very flexible. That's the cool thing. It's like I don't feel like I'm going to rip it. It's just a very flexible, durable layer of that cactus leather, and then you can see how soft that padding is just by creasing in like that, right? Which usually you would think that means that it's probably going to be more of a puncher's glove, but it has that nice cradled feel, which we'll go into in a second. But I also say it has that multi-layered foam. It probably has a little bit of latex in it. I do know with the Adidas Hybrid 300s that they used a sandwich style of foam that made it snap back quickly to have that latex feel. So I feel like they probably did that with a multi-layered padding because when you fold in, it pops right back every time. And it's the same thing with the thumb, has that same exact material all the way down to the back here. It feels nice and soft on the back of my hand. It folds in nice and it cradles my knuckles pretty nice too. Same thing for the thumb. The other thing about the thumb is I will say it does look identical to a winning thumb, and you can even see that there's a split going down here that separates the thumb. And you can see how that curves in very similar to a winning style thumb like that. And then even the whole profile of the glove kind of has that winning style look, that nice flat surface. But I'll say the knuckles look a little flatter, kind of like a puncher's glove would or should. The other thing too is you can see the split down is that splint that gives you that speed tilt system. And what the speed tilt system is, you can kind of see how it tilts down a little bit, is it lines your hands up. It's basically like Everlast saying the power lock system. It's just putting your hand in a natural punch position. When I open the Velcro, it has a very nice strong Velcro strap. I wish it was a little longer and it just looped around. I usually don't like the gloves that have the ones that like attach on the inside. I prefer when they're just on the outside and you loop around. But the interior lining is that nice stretched, it feels like a very soft, I always say that dry fit pillow material, and it kind of feels like that. But it's a lot smoother than that. The other thing too that's nice is it keeps your hand nice and shut because of that elastic strap here. When I put my hand on the inside of the glove, it's just a comfortable feel. It feels like I have a pillow hugging my, it's like one of those like cooler pillows, you know what I mean? Like the when you flip a pillow over, you got that cool feeling, like the cooler than the other side of the pillow type thing. That's what it feels like on my hand. And I will say it secures pretty good to the back of my hand, and you notice that most of the padding falls down to my wrist, so it stabilizes my wrist from going back too far. This is as far as I can go unless I really force it to go back further. And then downward, you can see that speed tilt is lining up my knuckles perfect. It's also very easy to just close my hand like that. Now I'm in a perfect spot. It's also very flexible, so I can catch, I can grip really easy for Muay Thai and for MMA sparring. And that thumb is in a perfect spot. I've never once smashed my thumb in this because of that nice soft padding. The other thing is like I said, you got that multi-density padding, although it's very soft. When I push in here, I can't feel my knuckles at all because it almost feels like there's that little layer of cradling foam that's going around my knuckles right there, which feels really great. But it's soft enough to where I hit, I get that nice puncher's feedback. So for me, this is a hybrid glove of a pillow and a puncher's glove because I love hitting the bag with these, or love hitting the mitts with these, because I just get an awesome energy off these. And it also protects my knuckles at the same time, which is awesome. That's always getting the best of both worlds. Overall, it feels really, really comfortable. The only thing I guess I would say is that with the Velcro version, I do notice that no matter how hard I strap this comes off my skin like a little bit, this back flap, which can kind of pull it right off. So maybe I would make that a little bit more tucked, or maybe adjust the wrist strap so it actually secures, or maybe wrap it around one more time so my hand doesn't pull back when I punch. But that doesn't often happen. There's tons of room on the inside of the hand compartment. I've wrapped my hands with big fight wraps and they fit just fine. Overall, I think that you guys will really have no problem with that. Another nice thing about the hand compartment and the glove itself is you have your standard foam, like your kind of insulation type foam feel here at the bottom of the wrist strap, which keeps you nice and stable. But the palm has the same multi-layered feel as it does in the knuckles, and same thing for the grip bar, is a really soft grip bar and palm feel. So it's great when you're catching for like drills or even for kicks. So I really like that most of the glove is lined with a really nice soft layer of foam. So overall, it's a very soft glove. It feels so good. So let's go ahead and go to the bag work so you can see these gloves in action.
All right, so when it comes to hitting the bags with these gloves, the first thing you notice is like the foam. When you hit it, it's like all the material just like corrals your knuckles in such a comfortable way, but it explodes at the same time. Like it's like everything's sandwiching all down and then it just pops back up. So you get this really nice cradled feel with a nice recoil. So if you're a nice puncher, you're going to see some really good results with that. They're also really good for grips. I really like getting tie grips with these. They're very, very comfortable in that regard. And I really feel like I can just wail into the bag, and they're so light on my arms, I can just let my hands go. They're very comfortable on the bag. Alright, so as you can see here, we got the Adidas logo at the front, and you got the 3 stripes on the back of the glove. And for me, I love how these gloves look because they kind of look like Spider-Man. So they're definitely not your average looking like boxing gloves. They definitely have that European style look to it for me at the same time. Really pops out as far as looks at of the gloves. I think people are definitely going to see those 3 stripes and be like, oh wow, I didn't know Adidas even made boxing gloves. They're really cool.
All right, folks, so my final verdict on the Adidas Speed Tilt 350 training gloves is I think Adidas really did a fantastic job in making a professional training glove. And I think a lot of people would actually really enjoy using these. These are one of those gloves where it's like I recommend them to anybody, and I think they'd be able to use them and have fun using them and have a good time using them. Do I think every pro on the planet would switch from their, standard Winnings, Grants, Everlast, whatever, to go to these? Not all of them, but I think a good chunk would, and especially because a lot of people use them. I think a lot of boxers would actually benefit in trying these out at the end of the day. I think they did a pretty good job. But overall, I want to kind of go into some of the things that I like and don't like about the glove. Starting with the knuckle padding, right? I'll put the right glove on. The knuckle padding, when I put it on, feels awesome, right? So not only is the grip bar on the inside and the interior lining comfortable, it's stretched tightly so I don't have to move my fingers around to get my fingers secured. And it's a nice flat feel that's covered. My fingertips are covered right here at the bottom with that nice neoprene type feel, and it feels really good on my fingers. The only thing I will say is there's not a whole ton of padding at the bottom of the fingers, so maybe if you're parrying a jab and you're curling over a certain way, you might jam your fingers a little bit if they're not caught up here, if they're down there. That might happen, but it does not always happen. That hasn't happened to me anyway, so I don't know if it would happen to you. The other thing, once again, is my thumb is curved. The knuckle padding is great, and I love that I have that nice cradled feel, but like I said, it's soft enough to where it'll bounce. You can actually kind of see with this one, if I just do that, you can see it kind of bounces a little bit. It kind of jiggled a little bit like that, right? And I like that it bounces, which tells me that there's a type of rubber material as far as like latex might go. It's coming from the rubber tree, I mean. And that's basically the type of material that I feel is on the inside. And I think it's because Adidas usually uses the sandwiched multi-layered foam method. So when you hit it, it kind of has that latex type feel, and that it's hitting, contracting so tight that it just flies back off, which is awesome. So it has a really nice puncher's feel, but it cradles your knuckles at the same time. It's actually a really nice feel on the shoulders as well. The only downside to that, I will say, is that it is somewhat top heavy. It's not too top heavy, but it is a little top heavy. If I put my hand like here, you can definitely see that, you know, it's decently balanced, but if I put it any lower, it's gonna go. But it's nice and light on my hand, and it doesn't feel top heavy on my hand itself. But when you are a puncher like me and you love getting the feedback off of each punch, when you land it, you want to throw 10, 12 more. That's the idea behind these that I get with these all the time. And like I said, another thing is the wrist support is pretty good. I can see some people having an issue with it, maybe. You know, I think probably with the lace-up version, not so much. But what I don't like is I'm really going to strap this on tight here, okay? And just, you know, just to reiterate, I'm going to strap it on tight like that. And you can see that this is kind of coming up a little bit, and it's very easy for me to just... Now, that won't be as easy with hand wraps on. Obviously, you know, your hand wraps will drag on the inside of the lining, and it's going to prevent that from moving. But I have noticed in sparring or sometimes hitting the bag, I have to like readjust and put my hand back in the glove itself a little bit, which can be annoying from time to time. I don't think that's the anatomy of my hands or my technique. I think that's just the glove kind of uplifting and going down my hand a little bit. But does that happen often? No, it's not every day, and in fact, it's really only if I have them on for a very, very long time, which it's normal for some gloves to do that in general. But overall, they're very easy to clean. A lot of people will love that too. If you don't like glove maintenance, it's as easy as taking a disinfecting wipe, wiping it down, and spraying the inside of the glove, killing all the bacteria and getting all the sweat out of the padding. But with that said, it is multi-layered, multi-density foam. What is going to happen over time is this. You are going to get some bubbling, which after a year of use, 1 or 2 bubbles, I'll take. You know, there's one there, and then the biggest blaring one is right there, as you can see. And I think there's one on the thumb, maybe here. Nope. There's one back here on the wrist. Very tiny one right there. But as far as like that goes, I mean, if that's only after a year of solid use, I don't think you're going to see any issue with these gloves lasting you well over 2 or 3 years or longer. And for the price point for a professional glove, $200, it's right in that pro glove area. And I think they're priced pretty good. You know, they're priced about, I think, 180 or 190 bucks. We'll just call it 2. And that's competing with guys like Reyes, different Combat Corner brands. Let's see, who else? Top Boxer, Fairtex, Everlast. I mean, I'd rather get one of these than 2 Power Locks to give you an answer on that, you know? So they're competing really well up there with a lot of other brands. It's a pretty nice, low-profile glove, too. As far as like the actual like profile of the glove, the way that it looks, its stature, it's a bit of a shorter, fatter glove compared to some other gloves out there. But I think it feels really nice, and I like the design of the glove. The one thing I don't like about the design is, as you know, I'm not a fan of the whole attach the. I don't like attaching the Velcro strap right to the palm of the glove. I like attaching it on the outside and looping it around. That's just, I think it opens the glove up better, and I think it secures your wrist a little bit more. So with that said, if I had to give these a rating out of 10, I give them a solid 9 out of 10. Because like I said, the only gripe that I have about it is they just kind of fall off my hand every now and again. They start sliding off a little bit, and I don't know why they do that. You know, there are some gloves that just do that because of the build, and I think that's it, because they just... I just feel the wrist strap could strap a little bit more, and maybe the wrist support could be a little bit better for some people. So if you have like chronic wrist issues, maybe the glove's not the best for you, but I think if you wrap your hands fine, you'll definitely notice that the wrist support's good. I've never had a wrist problem where it's jarred back any, but you can see definitely when I punch down, you can even see a little ripple by that wrist there. But I think that tilt technology keeps it nice and padded, especially if you wrap your hands. You're going to have the padding of the back of the glove plus the strap of the hand wrap, and then you have the wrist strap that does go over your wrist pretty well. The only thing that I wish is that this part here seems like it's not secure at the bottom towards my arm. It feels like it's coming up a bit too much, and I don't like that. I wish it was a little bit tighter down there. That's really my only gripe of the glove. Now, I also say because of that cradling foam and that nice recoil feel, is it going to protect your hands as good as a big rounded glove? No. So if you have very bad hands, maybe not the best glove for you. But, you know, I'm also saying, are you going to compare that to getting like grants and stuff like that? I'd take these just because they're cheaper and because they will get the job done. For me, they are closer to winning than they are grant. But this does have a very much Adidas feel because of the foam that they use and because of the lining that they use in general. So overall, guys, I'd have to give these gloves a solid 9 out of 10. Adidas did a great job. It shows that not only can a good boxing giant do a good thing, they can also do it right. So I'm really, really excited that they did that. So with that said, guys, that's the episode. I really appreciate you watching. I hope I answered any questions about these. And if I didn't, of course, comment below. I always want you to comment so you can tell me what gloves or equipment that you want me to review next or what video you'd like me to do next in general. Also, follow me on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter now. I'm trying that out. That's not going that great, but I'm trying it. And then also like, comment, subscribe, as it goes a long way to help the channel. If you have any questions, once again, please comment below. Message me on any of those platforms, and I'd love to get back to you and hear your feedback. If you have any questions about these, or if you want to see where you can get them, I'll post a link in the description below. All right, folks, thank you so much for watching the episode. I really appreciate it. Thanks for choosing The Combat Corporation, your source for combat sports. And as always, I'll see you on the next episode. All right, have a good one.